rats that have adjusted very well to human beings, and people generally don't like rats. And so, especially places that serve food can't have rats around. So they put out a type of poison to kill the rats. And there are different types of poison, but the type that most use right now is a blood thinner. And the rat eats the poison, gets thinning of the blood to the point that it hemorrhages and dies. And being at the top of the food chain, when hawks eat a rat that's poisoned, the poison accumulates in their system. And so what happened with Ruby was she and Buzz were feeding their kids rats. And Ruby was doing a lot of that, and she ate so much that she got such a high level of poison in her that her blood hemorrhaged out of its veins and she died. And one of the things that happened, one of the good things that happened by Ruby's death, is we worked with the restaurants and stores around Fresh Pond on both sides of the highway, and they all agreed, all of the shops and restaurants agreed not to use that type of poison because they didn't want to have this type of thing happen again. And it's still a threat for other red tails.
What do you recommend for if you have a rodent issue? For what kind of?
What they have is what they call first generation and second generation rodenticides.
Okay.
The second generation kills quickly, and what happens then is that if you eat a rat that's had the second generation, you're more apt to die quickly.
Okay.
So you go back to the first generation, which is not as dangerous to the prey, and you try and get the rats caught in the trap where they get the bait.
Okay.
That's the big thing now, is that if they go into the bait trap, they're caught in there, they die in there, so the injured or the sick or dying rats don't get out. Because if they get out and they're wobbly, it's very easy for the red tail to get them. It's a free meal.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Is there ever a fight over who is going to have the nest? Let's say either between Hawk 1, who then goes away, and Hawk 2 takes the nest, or Hawk 1, let's say Buzz, who goes away, and an owl takes the nest. Is there ever a fight where you say, hey, it's my nest, get out of here?
If an owl wants to take the nest, the owl has the nest.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets there first, and there's really no aerial predator that can tangle with a great horned owl.
Okay. It's stronger than the red-tailed hawk.
Yeah, so a red tail nest is often used by great horns, or a crow's nest is second choice. In terms of, are there fights? In Delmarva, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, we now have an enormous concentration of not only wintering but breeding bald eagles, and they have taken the primary territories. So now there are so many, they're looking at the secondary and tertiary territories. The single biggest cause of death to bald eagles in that area has become bald eagles. And it's mainly males fighting over territory, and males being severely injured or killed by another male fighting for a nest. And then they had one interesting thing. If you watch webcams, there was one in Virginia where they followed this pair nesting, and the mother was killed by an airplane. They were too close to an airport, and she was hit by a plane and killed. 4 different females came into the nest and said, "Hi, good looking. You know, I'd like to mother your eggs." And what happened was they each came into the nest and each acted as though they were the mate. And one day, and they wouldn't have known this if they hadn't seen it on TV. I mean, on Cablevision, there were different birds going in and out, but they really look the same unless you can see bands on them or something distinctive. And what happened was, one woman came in, took over, one eagle, female eagle came in and took over the nest. And a second female came in and attacked her, and the two fought over the male who was standing there watching. So what happens is you do get the competition, and
Is there any particular reason for that place to be so popular?
the what?
Is there any reason for that